Hello, everyone, and welcome to SQL session 9. And today we are going to see how to work with the wildcard. Let me put this here. All right, so we are going to work with the wildcard search. And during this next 2 hours, we are going to focus on SQL wildcard search. We are going to discuss everything in details, and we also try to see in action. So what is a wildcard actually? Wildcard is nothing but an advanced search technique that can be used to maximize your search results in the database. That means what? You might have already seen with the Excel where you want to search something partially, right? So we try to put few letters and try to use asterisk before or after, depending upon the situation. The same case goes with the SQL Server also. Wherever you want to do some wildcard search, partial name search, when you want to give the results, narrow down your search, we can start using this wildcard. So during this wildcard, what happens is basically we need to use an operator called uh, equal to, right? We always try to use equal to there in order to find something. For example, select star from table where employee name equal to Monty. So we always try to use equal operator in order to find an exact name. But let's see how to use this wildcard search. Can I be still use the equal to operator or anything else is there so that I can easily make this wildcard search possible? All right. So before that, let's try to create as usual as a separate database. For that, let me create database, and database name is wildcard underscore search underscore db. So that's my database name. So refresh it. Now we got the table database. Now once the database is created, I want to see that the database really I'm working with. That means by default it's showing master. So let's try to use that magic 3-letter word, that is use wildcard underscore search underscore db. That's it. Once you write this wildcard search db, whatever the database name, once you refresh, you'll see that database in which currently we are sitting is the database what we created. So let's try to refresh this now. All right, now we can see a database is ready and there are no tables in that. So quickly, let's try to upload some data which has some customer names or anything where we can start using our examples. So for that, let me go for quickly, instead of creating a table, I'll try to simply go for uh, inserting a new data into the database directory. So we know how to upload a data when you have some millions of data. I'll simply go for a task, then I'll go for import data. So once you go to the input data, there is a wizard which comes up on your screen. Now you need to tell from where you are trying to source the data, that is Microsoft Excel. And here where we are going to write your manually path from where you are getting, but it's always better to go for a browse button to search your file. So let's take this participant list. Let's say open. Before that, let's try to see what is this participation list consists of. So if you go to the database, desktop, and we have something called SQL queries, we have participation list. So before we actually, anytime in any situation when you are trying to upload huge amount of data, always try to see how the data is aligned. Is it having any bad data? Do you have any errors? Do you have any blanks? Always try to check before you upload. So my list is very simple. I have something called a serial number. I have something called a participation list here. All right. So let's see how many, what is the count of this list? Almost goes to up to 87. So my sheet name is list. So Excel also works like a database, but the way you are creating a table name in the SQL Server, here we don't have any table name. So your sheet name becomes the table name, right? So select the data. Select data is the table name for this. If you go for the data with date, this is called a table which with this name. So I want to upload something called list. So let's try to close it. Why I'm closing this? Always try to ensure that you are closing the Excel file before when you are uploading. All right. So close this. Ensure this is the right file. Go to your wizard and always ensure you are selecting the first row has column names. All right. So a version, let it be. Just say next. Next, it is going to ask you which client you are trying to upload. In my case, it was trying to show you 11.0. In different versions, it will show in a different, but ensure that you are selecting SQL Server native client. That's it. So here still have a scope where I can change my database name, but I don't want to change because this is my newly designed database. So you can simply say next. Say next. And here is a trick. We need to select out of these tables which table you want to select. Okay, you can also select multiple sheets and create multiple tables, but at this moment I want to go for the list and ensure you are giving a proper name to this. Okay, DBO, which is a prefix, always it is a database object. So I want to store this as students data something, and say next, and say finish. Once you say finish, it will start analyzing the data and will allow store. Being it's only 87 rows, it's good able to do very quick, so simply close. But still, I'm not able to see my data because as usual, we need to refresh the database to see your tables. So let me see. Yes, my table is existing and I have all those columns which are required for this one. So we have column called serial number. Okay, let me change this, rename this. It looks ash something serial number. So let me put SNO. I can quickly change from the designer view only instead of using a queries, which is a quick one. So I have two columns here, that is a serial number and name. Now let's see how it works. Before that, I want to select the data first. Before you do anything first, always try to select star from your student data. All right. So this is student data table. Once you run it, okay, so this is sometimes you find this kind of situation where you might be written the spelling wrong or you're not sure about the table. Don't worry, always we have something designer view. Just go to the table and just drag and drop it here. That's it. So it will always comes with a prefix here. Okay. So we are in the right database and we are in the right table. So once I try to select and run it, you'll be seeing all the data which is displayed from this table. And now you can see we have all the names, but sometimes the situation comes where you want to search the list of customers or list of products, or it could be anything for that matter. So you want to search with a partial information because I don't know the exact customer name. I don't know the exact product name or the company name. So either you want to search with the initial 1, 2 letters or last 1, 2 letters or mid letters, how whatever the case might be. This is more you called as a wild card, which in other words is a partial search. All right. So let's try to use this. As I said, like we need to use always equal to operator in order to find anyone's name. So for example, if I want to find Maggie, name this. So I'm just copying it so that instead of writing, select star from what's table, that is student table, where your name equal to Maggie. All right. So once I run this, it's going to give me the result of the customer or student name. So I think there is a problem with the student name table. So let me change the table name right from here. This is one more learning for us. Like we can also change students underscore data. All right. So that's my table name. Actually, there is a spell mistakes. stu. Now you can see it's coming up in the list. Let me run this. Okay, it's working. Now let me copy the same thing. I want to paste it here. So let me run this. Now my table is correct. Okay. So anytime if you want to change the table name, you can always change from here, or as always, you know that we can also use alter command to change the table name or rename or modify what you call as. So here, what I was trying to refer is whenever I use a equal to operator, what I mean exactly. Uh, when you know what exactly the name of the customer or a student, you can use always equal to operator. But what if I want to use all the student names which starts with equal to S, equal to M, equal to A. Let's see if the equal to operator works. it doesn't works. So it's not throwing an error because it's still thinking that M is a name which is there in the list, and unfortunately there is no such name, so it's showing a blank. And there are few operators which you use basically in Excel, right? You use star something like this, or you use star before because you want to, whatever the letters comes before the M or after them, you want to search in the Excel I'm referring to. So when I try to search, again, it's not the right name because it's thinking there is a customer name like star M star, but it's not working actually. So what exactly I need to use here? What exactly I need to use here in order to make this search very easy? Okay, here we need to use an operator called like, which you've been already using in the previous session, but it plays a very important role when it comes to a wildcard search. All right, so SQL like is a like operator is like a logical operator, as you know, that determines if a character string matches to a specified pattern, right? What do you mean by pattern? Actually, a pattern may include regular characters or a wildcard characters, right? So basically, the like operator is going to be used, will be used only in where condition. Okay, so let me write here like operator, which is a logical operator, can be used in where condition, and also you can use in select command. Let's say where clause, rather where clause of the select command. It's going beyond, so let me put this way, clause for the select. Or you can also use for the update command. Wherever you use a where condition, we can use this. You are using a select star from table where condition. You are also updating with the a where condition, and also we are sometimes you are deleting with a where condition, right? So these are the three commands through which you can start using this like operator, which is a logical operator, but must and should we have the where clause. Where is the clause? The way I'm trying to use here. If I don't use where clause, what happens? It will try to get the entire information for you, which I'm not interested. I want to be a very particular. I want to get only a particular employee information, because out of million rows, I want a particular department information, or I want to get only a particular set of students. In that case, you are going to use an equal operator and a where clause here. So once I refresh, you can see only that information is being filtered. The way you try to filter in Excel, okay, you'll just go to the auto filter and try to filter what name or what department, what year, what date you are trying want to filter. All right, so the statement is clear, like I need to use always wait clause, and wait clause where you can use in the select statement, the way I used. You can also use in the update command, because if you use update command, it's very dangerous. If you use update, it will update the whole table, right? So you need to always use wait clause if you are targeting any particular person, if you are targeting any particular department, if you are targeting any particular student. So always wait condition comes filtration where you can update only a specified record. And even it goes with the same thing with delete. We have seen quite a few examples. If you use delete from this table, it will delete everything. Of course, structure remains same, but the table data will be erased. So always ensure, like if you want to delete a particular person from a particular department, obviously we need to use a where condition. All right, so now that we have created a database, we used a three-letter magical word, that is use, so that I can be sit in the same database and do all the operations. All right, so this is very important. You need to be always in the same database to perform the operations. So this is how I'm going to rate you as usual, and this is how I'm going to filter. Now, let's try to understand some concepts of using this wildcard patterns. Okay, let's try to understand these patterns. Now, the very first thing is, what are patterns? Okay. So when you talk about the patterns, what are the different styles through which you can maximize your search? So whenever you try to use this patterns, what kind of categories we have. The very first one, the pattern, let me explain what is a pattern here. Pattern is nothing but, we can think it like it's a sequence of a characters, right? To search for in the column or in the expression. It can also include the different characters, something like, let me put it here. So the first one would be a percentage. Okay, the way you use asterisk symbol in Excel in order to do some partial uh, search, in the same way you want to use a percentage symbol when it comes to SQL, that is SQL. Okay, so what this percentage is going to do, so let's see the percentage at what situation we can use. Any string, any string of 0 or more characters. All right. So the second one is very commonly used, actually, underscore. Okay. This is a underscore. When to use this underscore? This is again a wildcard pattern. Any single character. Any single character. What does it mean, actually? If you want to find uh, more characters, you need to use two underscores might be. Let's see in action, but single character as of now, I'm just using underscore. Now let's go for the third one, that is open and closing brackets. So what does it mean? Character to character. So within what range you want to search? That is, let's assume this is my letter A and this is letter C. So that means I want to search all those customers, all those products, or whatever the category might be. You want to search between A and C letter only. That is when we are going to use this brackets, that is the left bracket and the right brackets. So any single character within specified, let me just drag this down so that you have more space to see. All right, specified range. That's it, as simple as that. So within uh, let me put the actual symbols here so that you can understand. All right, this is good. So character to character, which character, which character? Maybe you want to find employees whose name starts with A and as well as C. So within this range, all those names customers you want to find within the specified range. We'll see in action how to work. So you need to remember these three patterns while you are searching. We'll try to cover most of the uh, uh, all the examples, scenarios, so that we can understand how to master this wildcard search. Okay. So we have the select command. So let me put my select command at the top so that you can start using this. So whenever you want to search exact name, we use equal to operator. That is what we have seen. Just when I'm selecting this, only this name, I'm going to see only that particular person information. The same way, when I want to select all, this is what we are selecting, which you've been seeing right from the first session. So let's try to get to the search now. So during the search, what happens is, all right, so let's see the very first example. You want to check name starts with letter A. Do you have some names with E? Yes, exactly. So let's try to see if I want to find, narrow down my search by using a wildcard search. I want to find only those names which starts with letter called A. Okay, let's see how many names you are going to find. So that's a first search we are going to see as a basic example, and we'll slowly try to see by using all those combinations. So I'm using simply select command. Instead, let me just steal my own code. That's it. So what my if I want to go for a single character, what let's go to my theory here. It says a percentage any string of 0 or more characters. So this is what we are trying to see. So when I if I want to see a letter that is A, I need to use a percentage. That means what? Any name which starting with A, I want to see all those customer names. By using percentage there, something like in your Excel, you are using an asterisk. Here I'm using percentage. That's how the SQL understand. Okay. Now, when I run this, I'll get into errors. Let's see. Or it will leave you a blank record rather. It will leave you a blank record. Though my data is having lot of names, many names, in fact, with letter A, we have something called Amar, we have Arvind. Okay, there are few names, Anthony. We have some few names, but it is not giving me any output. Let me try again once again. It's not giving me any data. It's blank because the problem here is I used equal to operator. So I was telling like we need to use an operator called like whenever you're trying to use a wildcard search. So equal to is only for the exact match. That's what we have seen in the very first example. That is using an equal operator. When you know the exact name only, we can use it. But this is a partial search, right? When it is a partial search, we cannot use equal to operator. Let's try to use name like. That's it. When you use like, you'll see the color will change. So like a percentage. Now let me run this quickly and see if I'm getting only the customers or the student names with letter A. Exactly. We are getting all those customer names or the student names or whatever the situation. We are getting only A's. Now let's begin with the next example. So for that, let me copy this and put it here as a comment. Name ends with, let's try to reverse it now. Ends with letter A. It's quite easy now. By this time, you would have guessed it right. That is a percentage. That is starting, I want A letter. Now I want ending letter to be A. I'm not sure how many names I'm going to get it, but let's see. A. That means now the percentage position is changed. Before it was last, now it's in the beginning. Will it give me the exactly last letter as A? Let's try to see. All right. We have the very first name in the list, that is Nilima, ends with A. Okay, Parthiva A, Priyanka A, Devi Prasanna A. So all A's, if you see right from beginning to end, we have a huge list which is showing all A's ending with A. So that's a magic power of this using percentage and with a combination logical operator that is like. So let's move on to the next example. Hope you understood how to use a starting letter and ends letter. Now you might have a lot of questions in your mind. All these questions will be answered during next examples. All right. So let's see. We have seen how to start starting with a letter, ending with a letter. Now let's see how not with the letter A. That means I don't want name starts. What does this mean? Name does not starts with letter A. I want all those customers or students names which doesn't starts with A. So I don't want A letter to be the first letter. So I want the rest of the things is fine for me. So in that case, how we are going to use that means so far I was using a like operator. The only thing is one more additional logical operator you need to use, which will make this statement correct. So that means before the like, I need to use not. Now again, where should this percentage should come? That is before or after. Why before? Why after? We need to understand that. Whenever you starts with, that means your letter should be the first position. Whenever ends with, your letter should be the end position. And your percentage position is also changing, right? It is at the end, here it's a beginning. Now I want to start not, does not, starts with letter A. So that means now we need to decide where the percentage should be. It should be before or after. So it should be after because as per the first example. Now, what I'm not interested in, out of my all my list, which is there in my database table, I don't want to see all the customers whose starting name is letter A. Now let's try to quickly run it and see the output. Okay, now you can see I have all the names, but there are few names missing, which is starting with letter A. I don't have those. Now you 87 is my count, so I'm getting only 78. So what happened to the rest of the letters? Let's see, starting with A, how many you'll get? This query and the last query, let me run simultaneously so that you can see. This is with A, this is without A. Okay, now you can see I'm trying to run both queries at once so that I can see the response. Here, I have 87 records. Okay, I have 87 records. Here I have 9 records, all with A. These names, if you see in the first query, there are no names which is starting with A. That's it. Now you have learned how to use starting with, ending with, and not like. So let me just remove this. It's not required. All right. Now let's go for the next one. Ends with. Ends with, but not. Let's use does not. Name does not ends with letter A. So what I'm going to do now? The position is going to be changed again. It should be before or after. Now we know. But here I need to use simply a not equal to. That is not like. So when I use this, what happens is this will show you, okay, ending with letters, that is A, not like. So let me see. I got all the names. If you see Maggie, which is not ending with A, Amar is not ending with V, Arvind is not ending with A. So likewise, we have all those names and we have many names which is not ending with A. All right. So that's how we are going to use a not like operator. So there's a pretty 4 examples, which is like and not like. We have seen 4 examples. So let's move on to the next one. We'll try to use slowly all the combinations. Now you want to see name. Uh, name ends with, let's see this example. The name ends with, what are the names we have? Let's see. NK, for example. Okay, hypothetical situation. NK, I can see there is a Frank here. So I want to find all those names which ends with NK. Okay, so far we are using only one letter, but this time I'm little curious. I want to increase my knowledge, how to go to advanced level of searching. I'm trying to find with 2 letter now. So let's see how it works. I'm selecting this. All right, I placed it. Now, this particular line which I copied and pasted, it is not like. So let me remove this not. Okay, I want to find all the customer names with ending with NK. Okay, NK, like operator already I'm using. I'm not using not here. But when you say 2 letter, how I'm going to use? It's ends with. So what the ends with says percentage. But way to use, whenever you are using a starting letter, we are using at the end. When you are using ends, whenever you're trying to search with the end letter, we are using before. So here also I need to use before because ends with. So whenever you're using ends is, now you want to find with NK, simply use NK. All right. So use simply NK and try to run. You would be seeing only NK. I think you will be getting only one customer. Yeah, that is Frank. All right. So now you can imagine if you have 4 letters, 5 letters, 6 letter, how to use it. So let me put it here, 2 letter. Now, I don't want to show you how to work with a 2 letter, 3 letter, 4 letter, or multi letter. It's the same goes. You're using a percentage, and the same thing goes with starting with, right? There's no difference. Starting with names, not ends with, but starts with NK, not NK. Let's see some names. I used AR. Okay, here I need to use AR. After that, the position will change. That is a percentage. So AR is my starts with. So I'm going to see only one customer probably, that is Arvind. Okay, so AR is first 2 letters. If you have 3 letters, now you know how to use it. Now let's move on to the next topic. All right. Now that we understood how to use with 2 letter or 3 letter or 4 letter, now it's quite easy, right? Just adding the letters. Now, before that, let me try to select all records first because I want to see what are the names existing so that I can use certain combinations here. So let's try to see next example. What if you have something called name starts with the letter, let's take an example of D, starting with D, and ends with ends with. Now we are trying to use a different combination here. That is, we are also trying to check starting letter and also with the ending letter. So let's try to take any example here. That is we have Devi Prasanna, which starts with the letter D and ends with A. So let's see how many combinations we are going to get. So two combinations here, starting letter and the ending letter. So let me take the same query here and see how different it is going to be, because so far I'm so used to using this percentage either before or after based on the situation. Now, where do I need to start using this? Okay, let me put the actual letters. That is, let me also remove this percentage now. DA, this is what you are trying to search. So whenever you search, how do I remember is when I just try to write the query completely, I'll try to see what letters I'm interested in. I'll try to put those letters. And when you run, definitely you'll not get anything here because we need to use a percentage. We have seen way to use, that is percentage before or after, but now the situation is different, right? We need percentage again, no doubt, but way to use it. Before, I can't use it. After, I can't use it. Simple solution, we need to use in the middle. Why? Because you want to find the customer names is starting with letter D, ends with letter called A. So let's select this and see. Okay, we got only one customer name, that is Devi Prasanna, that is D and A. That's it. This is how we are going to start with starting and ending letter. Now let's see the next example. Name, second character, or second letter. Let's make it simple. Second letter in the name, second letter is H. Okay, H or any letter. So what this is trying to tell you is, what if you have a name? So let me go with some names here. Again, I want to go back to the select the query. Okay, we have a lot of names here. What if I want to find this guy, that is Pardiva, whose letter is A, second letter is A. I'm not interested in first letter anymore because now I understood how to find the first letter and the last letter combinations, right? Now I want to see what if the person name is letter second is A. I want to find all those names. So I need to remove this. I want to put only my such letter first. Okay, here let me change the header also, so no confusion. Name, second letter is A. How to search? That's a question. All right, which we are trying to solve this. So name like A, if I just put percentage again before and after, you know how to, you are going to see the result. But this time you want to find second letter as A in customer list. So let me go back to my theory again to see what's it's saying. If I use percentage any string of 0 or more characters, that is over. Now the underscore picture comes into play here. So any single character. So that means you are trying to find the second letter. So what about the first letter? First letter can be anything, right? That is what you mean. Let me go for here and say underscore. Okay, what I used underscore here means first letter can be anything, but the second letter should be A always. But does that solve our problem? Let me run it and see the errors. You'll not find any errors because there's no such name existing. So you need to use percentage symbol here. Why percentage again? Because after A letter, I am not sure how many letters are there. I don't know whom I'm going to find it, but first letter could be anything. Second letter should be must and should, it should be A. Now let me run it and see. Okay, we got an error here saying that unclosed quotation marks after the character string, that is A. Okay, what exactly the error here? We are trying to use a single quote before, after single quote, and we use letter A and underscore. All right, so when you try to run this, you'll be getting all the results, which is starting, not starting exactly the second letter as A. If you see in the Maggie, we have E, Pardiva E, Babu, we have E, Kavita, we have E, Naresh, we have E. So wherever you have A letter as a second position, we are going to see all those names. This is how you're going to do. Now, just imagine if you want to find the third letter as A. I'm not sure if you have those names, but let's see. The second, and this is a third letter A. This is, now this is working as a second letter. So what is missing? I need to use one more underscore. How many underscores I can use? There's no limit. As many underscore you want to use, because what is your question actually? If it is a third letter, we need to use 1 and 2. Why 2 underscore? Because the third letter you are trying to find. Now let's try to run it. Let's see if I have some names. Of course we have. Amar, we can see in the third position, we have A. Frank, we have Uday, we have Bhaskar, we have Sharda, and we have Shailaja. We have some names with the third letter A. All right, so let's try to focus on the next one, which is little more next level of this, because we are just coming from the basics. Now we want to see if the first character, first letter maybe, first letter uh, in the name, what is name? Name is a column name. In the name is A or P. Let's assume we have certain names with starting with A or P. What if this kind of situation comes? Instead of running two queries, one is with A and one with P, how to run both queries in a single combination, how to give that, let's see. Now I'll copy as usual my query, I'm pasting here. I'll remove everything. I'll just put that is A and P. These are the only two letters through which I want to find all the customer names, all starting with A and all the names with starting with P. Let's see how the combination is going to work. Already we can see there's a name with Amar. P, we have Prakash and Praveen. So these are the names which are going to be displayed out of 87. There are some more. Let's try to see. So now that my query is complete, but incomplete actually, in fact, because I have not mentioned anything in this. Because the question is, it should be letter A or P. Whatever you have, please display from the table. So in this kind of situation, how we are going to use. So let me go back to my search pattern again. We have seen how to use a percentage. We have seen how to use the underscore. Now this is what let's try to see, because it's talking about the range. Now, before A, just put the open bracket. After the P, try to use a open bracket, closing brackets. What does it mean? We are trying to find either A, either P, but we need to use the percentage here. I cannot use a percentage here, right? I cannot use a percentage here because that works like here. That is starting and ending. So I cannot use year as well either. So if I use percentage year, again, it looks like you want to find the rest of the letters. No. So what you do is just come out of the bracket and use your searching pattern, that is percentage after AP. What is AP here? A all with name starting with A, and P all the names. So let me search again and you'll see the letters what we have right now. Letters what we have now, that is starting with P, starting with A. We got all the names here. All right, only those names which are starting with A and starting with P. But it's not properly aligned actually. If you look at P is coming first, A is coming somewhere else, P is coming. So what is the best clause we can use in order to make this order? By default, it is giving whatever the order it is loaded. So I can use simply order by DESC. Yes, order by which name you want, which column you want to order. That is name DESC. What happens here when you use order by clause? Now all the P's came at the top, all the A's came down. So that means it is Z to A. Now let me not use descending order. What happens? By default itself is ascending order. So that means all the A's you are going to see at the top, all the P's you are going to see at the P. So this is something which I learned in the previous session, that is order by. I'm trying to use in my existing one. All right. So let me put this guy here. All right. So this is A or P. That means any letter. I've just taken A or P because I have that combination names here. You can take any combination. So if you don't find any customers with A, at least it will try to put some customers with P, whatever the case might be, whatever the information is available in your database. Now let's try to see the next combination of this, that is open and closing bracket also helps you to go through the range. What do you mean by range? If I say A to P, A to P, that means I want, this is your lower, this is your upper letter. This is a lower dimension, this is a upper dimension. Between that, whatever the letters comes, that is B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. That means your P as ending dimension and starting dimension is A. That means from starting from A till P, I want to get all the names. So that's an example here. Let's try to see how it works. So let me give the first comment here. to remember what this exactly this search is. First letter in the name is in a range A through P. Let's try to make it very simple. So C, because if I see A to P, I'll get all the names. So let's see A to C. All right. So I want to see all the customer names with starting with A, starting with B, starting with C. So we are trying to see a range. Here we are trying to see only A or P, but here and combination. Here it is a or combination. This is a and combination. We can also say it's non combination because A through C, we want all. So right. So let me select the same command again, paste it here. Now, how this is gonna work? Okay. So far we have seen AP and percentage. Now here I want AC. Let me remove everything because I want to understand by letters first. A through C. A to C, A and C, A, B and C. That's how the combination works here. So here I need to use what, whenever you talk about a range, that's a third golden rule, what we learned, the third pattern, that is open and close bracket. So I also need to use a percentage. But if you look at the way I've written, this and this both are same. So how this is gonna give me result? You need to use one more additional operator here, that is hyphen. Okay, when you use A hyphen C, that means I want to see all those names from A to C. So let's see. Once I run this, I'll get all the names. Again, this is not order. So let me copy this order command from here and paste it here. I'm just trying to put order so that I can see in order of the names, that is A to Z. That means let me run this. Now, if you see, it started with A, started with B, started with C. Where are my other names? It's missing. Yes, because we are interested in only A to C. Let me put D. Now we don't have any names here. If you see up to C, it ends. Now when I run this, if you have any names, just in case if you have names, you can see additionally there are 4 names added: Deepti, Devi, Dhirender, and yeah, so E, B, C, D. Yeah, we got all. So D, and let's try to use E if you have names. Now we got A, we got B, we got C, D. There is no such names with E. Let's go for F. I hope Frank will appear here. There's a customer called Firoz also there, and Frank is also there. So that's how we can get through the range. So this is little, we can say next level of searching, that is going through the range. Let me put as a F so that you can understand. All right, so let's take one more example here, last example in the search, because we have seen pretty much almost all those combinations which you use most frequently are all these combinations. You will not go beyond this actually, in fact. So I this time I want, what I want to do is, I don't want the names should be start with this. So first letter in the name in the range A through F. Let me put 3-letter word that is not in the name. Okay. What if I use not here? Will it work the way it was earlier? I'm running this now. Okay. So A name is not working, B is not working, C is not working. If you see, there is no such name is starting with this. There is another way of writing it. Okay, there's another way of giving a not symbol. Okay, let's assume we have not given this one. It will simply give you the same result what it was given earlier, like this. But if you want to use the not symbol, we can also use exponent. That is on your keyboard, letter 6, use shift 6, you'll get this exponent. Exponent works like a not. Okay, not. Either you can use a not operator here, the way we have used here. Okay, not like or like. You can use not by using exponent, right? Had it been, if you've seen some queries which are written with this symbol, don't be surprised. It is nothing but not. Either use that or this, both are same. There's no difference actually. You'll see the result here. Starting with Nilima and Parthiva, you have Prakash, Joel, we have all these names, but we don't have any names which is presented with A, B, C, D, E. That's it. That's end of wildcard search, which I've seen all the combinations. So let's try to recap again what exactly the starting uh, patterns are important here. We need a percentage of operator, which you have seen in action, how this can influence or narrow down your search. Next one is underscore, any single character. Because you're using only one single underscore, so obviously any single character. If you're using two, that means you want to start with two. If you want to go for multiple letters, use that many underscore, which you have seen in action. And we have to use this open and close bracket whenever you want to go from character to character. Okay, character to character, specified range through. Okay, specified range through. Either we can go for a or combination, or you can go for and combination. Okay, that's what we have seen at the end. This is ARP. This is ARP. This is not ARP. This is A and P. It's not just A and P, but A to F. That's a complete range we are trying to look. That's a major difference between a single character which has completely changed the query. That is simply iPhone. All right, so let's talk about the next very important topic. I can say heart of the SQL Server, or any relational database management system. As I've been talking about data, because we're always working with the data, and why we work with the data, because we want to analyze it, we want to get some insights out of it, so that it can be really helpful for the management, right? So we always busy with cleaning up data. Either it's an SQL, either it could be an Excel or anything for that matter. So you have some spaces you want to remove it, or the format is lowercase, you want to make it uppercase. The date is not really in format. We got something like year, month, day, but you want a different format. You want to completely spell out like January instead of simply saying one. So whenever you think about cleanup, because in the real world, the data comes from a different sources, and all the data is not really clean and beautiful as you expected, right? So we need to do a lot of job here in order to clean up the data. So this can be very easy uh, with a SQL. So let's try to see how to work with your Excel first, because we are all masters in Excel. We know how to work with Excel effectively. If I show you a few examples in Excel, you'll see what exactly the difference when I work with the SQL. Will it be same or different? Let's try to see. So in simple, what is a function? A function is a stored program, right? It is a stored program. Let's try to see why it is called a stored program. If I simply use, if I simply use equal to sum, okay, equal to sum, it's not a user defined function, right? It is a predefined function which is available in the Excel. So that's why when I type sum, I'm getting some pretty awesome intelligence box, and also a tooltip information which is trying to tell me what you can do with sum. Okay, let me see if I can add 10 plus 10. That's it. When I say enter, we'll get the 20. So how this function is trying to help me by doing uh, subtraction or multiplication or summing up some numbers, whatever the aggregations it is trying to work. Maybe it's a VLOOKUP, sum if, whatever the 450 plus functions, how it is working, it is already predefined within the Excel. So by using these predefined functions, we are trying to pass certain values. So always remember, in the function, we'll try to pass single or multiple values in order to arrive for a single value. Okay, I pass two parameters here. Okay, even if I pass only one parameter, I'll be getting 10. If I pass two parameters, I'll be still working, that is 20. If I'm giving three parameters, it is giving the result. So what does that function mean? Function always takes certain parameters, but gives only a single value to it. That is what the function is all about. Okay, we need to pass the parameters. If you don't pass the parameters, it will never give you the output what you're looking for. For example, VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP has four parameters which you need to we need to pass it in so that it can give the result. Let's see VLOOKUP here. VLOOKUP, when I open, unlike some, I cannot give 10, 20, 30 because I need to pass some different parameters because it has a different functionality, right? Lookup will always try to look up some value. Let us say one. Then when I say comma, it's asking me where is your table, because it's trying to search this one is existing in the table which you're going to show. So it has four parameters. If I don't give four parameters, it is going to throw an error, because the VLOOKUP, when it was designed by Microsoft, it was given 4 parameters. So we need to provide the 4 parameters here. So that's how it works. Let's see one more example. If I have Monty and Excel, if I want to combine these two, there are different ways actually. I can simply copy this information, maybe Excel. Okay, I can put just beside Monty. It's quite easy, right? But when you are trying to deal with 10 million, 100 million data, or some 10,000 rows or 1,000 rows, you can't just be doing this way, right? So you want to combine the data. You might be knowing already in Excel, we have been using since long time, that is concatenation. Let's try to see how the concatenation works in Excel first, because slowly we'll move on to the SQL to see, is there any such difference? Because I know Excel, now I'm learning SQL. When I'm started using the functions, will be a little different or same. If I want to combine these two, I simply know concatenate. That's a word being used. That's a function which is given by Microsoft. Okay, once you open Monty as a first reference, I cannot write Monty there because it's sitting in the cell. So that is D4, comma. Then I need to use a Excel that is sitting in E4. When I say that and say close a bracket and say enter, you'll be seeing Monty Excel in a single word, right? It is being combined now. But unfortunately, it is not having any space between. That is Monty Excel, it looks like a single word, but I want to give a space. So how you give that? Simply use one more comma here and try to use double quotes, enter. That's it. We got a space. If can I use any special character here, something so that I can make it little funny? I have used Monty @Excel, just like that. Okay, so that means you can use concatenation function, which is a predefined function in Excel out of 450 plus function, through which I can combine this. We have just seen how the VLOOKUP works. We have seen some formula, maybe average formula. Now there's another way of doing this concatenation, right? Most of the people use concatenate. At the same time, you can also use this one, equals to this, okay, and use ampersand, double quotes, ampersand, and use Excel and say enter. What you're trying to do here, actually, we are trying to refer that Monty in one cell, and you are referring Excel in one cell, and in between that you are using double quotes to concatenate this. Nothing but to combine these two, we are using ampersand symbol. So this is another way of doing without any function, simply directing a trying to tell which cells those are, right? Being it is an Excel, you are referring the cell reference. Can I do without using the cell reference? Of course you can do. Equals to Monty, ampersand, double quotes, ampersand, Excel, close it. That means no cell reference, directly giving the text data here. Okay, directly we giving the text data. So that's how the result is going to be. That means without using the cell reference, still you can give a text and combine it. It's not a new thing, but trying to show you how we can use without a formula and without a cell reference. So let's get onto the SQL now to see how it works in the SQL. All right. So the very first one, let me give the header part as usual. So for that, let me copy it for the quick one. I'll go for the function name header. Okay. So that we can see all these functions flowing here. Okay, in these functions, there are different type of functions which you are going to use, just like Excel, all right? Most of the time, you are going to work with strings, that is nothing but characters or text. Let's see, strings or text or characters, one and same. Next, number or numeric or what you call integer, right? One and same. Date is a date. So most of the time you'll be fine working with these three different type of formats. Either you are trying to combine two words. Either you are trying to make something a format like uppercase to lowercase, or whatever the case might be. In the numeric, you are trying to add certain numbers by using a sum formula or average it. You use a lot of functions in Excel in order to manipulate your data, in order to clean up the data, in order to make this information more readable format for the end user, right? So in the date also, why we need a date format. So for example, you want to add one day additionally for the current date. You want to subtract 1 month data, or you want to see the difference between 2 months, or if you want to see the 2 years of variation. So whenever you want to manipulate and work with the data, date functions comes handy here. So there are three different types of functions. We also see other conversion types of dates, types of examples. All right. So before we start, there is the first thing which we already spoke, that is SQL aggregate functions. Okay, aggregate functions. Aggregate functions. We already seen this example, how to use the aggregate functions, where user can give multiple values as, let me write in the second line, input, but function always returns a single value, right? That's what we are discussing as an output. All right, so always your formula or function is always going to return a single value, irrespective of the number of parameters you are passing in. So in the aggregated functions, we have average. Okay, we have something called sum formula. Okay, we have count, we have max and minimum. Okay, so where I can use all these aggregated functions. So assume that you want to average the entire employee salary. You want to sum what is the employee total salary in your company, or you want to count how many employees are there in your company in a particular department maybe, or you want to find which is the maximum salary which is earned by any employee in the company, or you want to find who is the minimum salary which is being taken by employee, or minimum tenured in the company, or maximum tenured in the company. You can use the way you want all these aggregated functions which you have seen in the previous session. So let's try to concentrate on how to use string functions. So I'm going to show you with a table or without a table, so that you can understand the concept is very important here. That is the logic, because the example, the table what I've taken, you may not find in the real time. So try to understand the logic, how to use it, so that any business situation comes, you know which function to be used at what situation. So let's try to see the very first one, string functions here. In the string function, the very first function I'm interested in, okay, concatenation. So let me go back to my Excel again. I want to see how it is written in Excel. Concatenate, that is the word being used. That is the name given to that function, right? So let's see if it the same. I want to copy it literally to paste in SQL and see if it works. Okay. So for that, I need the same table we have. Let's try to concatenate serial number and name together and see. Select from, that is star again, of course, star from which table, that is student data. All right. I want to concatenate. What do you want to concatenate? I want to concatenate. So let me paste here because just copied it. Okay. I used concatenate here. Just open the bracket, then use serial number, then use name and close the parenthesis. All right. Now, if you look at the concatenate, which I have just borrowed from my Excel, okay, which is trying to show as not recognized function in SQL. What does it mean? So that means I don't have a concatenated function here. Okay, let's see what kind of function we have. Select concat. What is the difference here? In Excel, the functionality is same again. In the Excel, we are going to call it as a concatenate. Here you are going to say concat. That is a concat is a function which you are going to use. As you know, the functions always show in different color, not in blue color. Blue color are the keywords, right? So this, what we are learning is not the keywords, they are the functions. So obviously we are not supposed to use concatenate here, rather we need to use concat. All right. So let me run this. What happens here? Two columns will become one. Yes, absolutely. but there is no space. Let's assume I'm trying to combine the first name and last name, maybe, or else I'm trying to combine the employee ID with the name, or I want to combine the city name with the country name, or it could be anything for that matter. You want to combine something. Okay, that's how the this is going to help. But when you're trying to combine, what is happening here is there is no column mentioned at the top. There's no column mentioned at the top because when you're trying to use any aggregated functions, so whenever you're trying to use a concatenation functions, what happens is, as you are using aggregated function here or any